is US CMA? I've told them the basics. So I'll probably just want you to give your 2 cents.
So it's picturing it. So that's one part of it. Now, how it is going to be very relevant, or why it is so relevant, and why it is so much in demand today is that
what I would like to share, the dynamics is changing very fast. And another thing is like, post-pandemic things where what we saw that human want quick, fast, easy.
we Indians, I am very proud of the way we have actually made our economy probably the best economy as growth. A US CMA certified professional will have on an average 67% higher salary than a non-certified peer across the globe.
And I can tell you, this kind of a qualification never dies.
Absolutely.
Because hi everyone, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. My name is Pankaj Dhingra, and as you all know me by now, I am a proud FinTrammer. Welcome. Welcome friends, welcome to the another session in your journey of becoming an expert in finance. And for that, I have some esteemed guests today who are really going to be sharing a lot with you with reference to a qualification that is US CMA. And I have the privilege today for having Mr. Arindam Ghosh with me, who is the country head for Institute of Management Accountants, that is IMA, US. And I also have a dear friend with me today. I have Mr. Vineet Pawar today, who is the regional manager with IMA, and they both are really going to be telling you a lot about the qualification that you should look forward to. Boss, इतना बड़ा decision life में लेना है in terms of what qualification to pursue and when and क्यों मुझे करनी चाहिए, कैसे करनी चाहिए. That is the reason we really thought that the ideal and the best way to get out the right answers is to get the veterans and the gurus of this qualification. So we invited them, and I'm very thankful to you, Mr. Arindam and Vineet, for that. I think it's gonna be very useful for our students on the whole.
Privilege is ours, Pankaj ji. First of all, thank you for inviting over to this session. It's amazing to be here. FinTram Global, the way they are expanding the kind of finance as an education, as a profession. I think kudos to you. The kind of approach that you have, the kind of expansion that has happened over the years, and as a certification body, I think we're also very, very happy and privileged to be kind of partnering with you in the coming days for the US CMA certification. Thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Pleasure is all ours for that matter. So let me quickly start off with your background, sir. And I think folks will be very much interested in terms of what all you have done, and just getting some perspective about you. And then we'll probably go to Vineet, and then we'll take it on from there.
Well, thank you for the question, but I'm sure, this is a little bit of I would say it is as good or as bad as it comes, because many people will be really delighted to know that though in India I'm heading the certification body, which is a finance certification. However, I am basically through and through for the last 24 years, I have been a building business guy. So more of an entrepreneurial guy than a core finance guy to talk about. So the good and bads are always there. The way I look at it is that, so I am a commerce postgraduate. So that is where the connect always happens. And then I continued my MBA program from Calcutta. And then since 2000, I have been into corporates and kind of moving across different places. So started off with advertising as an advertising agency, Ogilvy and Mather. Went into product management, product development to some extent, project management. Then into a lot of kind of incubating new businesses. Okay, for a long period of time, before I kind of signed up with IMA, which has been very, very recent. So I am a newcomer in IMA India. So I kind of joined in October last. So this is my 4th month, and I'm enjoying every moment and every day of it. It's a wonderful, I would say, organization and a wonderful profession, the way the organization gives back. So I think we all know what IMA, US IMA is, kind of a century-old kind of a certification body. Approved over 140 countries globally. Probably doesn't need me to speak much about it, but then it is one of the most powerful certifications globally about management accountancy. So that's the way, and I'm privileged to be, kind of leading from the front in India. There are a lot of plans that we can look at going forward. Vibrant market, and we Indians, I am very proud of the way we have actually made our economy probably the best economy as growth, and that's how I think even the globally also everybody is looking towards India, and that's where US CMA plays a very very sweet spot.
I completely agree. And students and the folks who are seeing us, you should know this. And again, I'm being very lemonish over here. Like we have the Indian CMA, we are talking effectively today US CMA, the CMA of US. And considering it is US, it is really going to be having a very, very global outreach because the acceptance really goes multifold. And that's where the qualification really helps an Indian student to really get a sort of a seat at the table when it comes to any US or for that matter any global company. Because if you have a credential like this on your shoulders, you can really carry yourself into the interview room with a very different level of pride that what, this is what I've done. And since it is a qualification that company really recognizes and understands, it really values you too, right? To a very greater extent, because then they feel, yes, this is the guy I'm looking forward to. आज हम इसी qualification को unlayer करेंगे in terms of understanding more about this. But before we really go in there, I'm not forgetting we need you for that. Let's start off with an introduction and then we'll pick it up.
Certainly, Mr. Pankaj. So, I'm Vineet Pawar and I'm a regional manager. I'm stationed at Delhi office. And to be honest, I'm very happy to be here today, Pankaj. And, it is always said that bird of same wing flocks together. So, it's been a while. But yes, I think, we are going to be a partner very soon. And we have already started US CMA promoting. So, that's amazing. And like I said, like bird of same wing flocks together, which means like-minded, the thought process, the quality-driven process, and creating value for the students. I see through and through in FinTram Global. And you've been doing an amazing job. And so, couple of decades of years of experience. I help students solve complex problem, and I help partners to drive and scalability of their business. This is a bit about me, Pankaj.
Good, thank you. I think he has been modest, guys. Let me tell you one thing. You pick up any student for that matter, who is somewhere related to finance, you would see him knowing his name. That's how he has been instrumental in terms of really helping the students getting on to their dreams and of course running towards it. So thank you, Vineet.
Thank you.
So I think the first thing first would be what is US CMA? I've told them the basics. So I'll probably just want you to give your 2 cents on that, and then we'll quickly move on to the another one. Maybe you can take it right away. कि US CMA क्यों करनी चाहिए?
Very good question. I like the simplicity in which you actually asked that question, and I'll try to answer it as simple as possible. So let's understand. So finance is a broad field. Okay. So the moment we talk about financing, accounting, so there is plethora of options that plays around in our mind, and historically also Indians have been one of the best accounting heads across the globe. Now, if you look at it, so I'll take 2 things. One is, because you rightly pointed it out, the question is interlinked. So what is US CMA and how is it different, or what exactly it is all about, how it is in comparison to the others. So see, it's about as the terminology goes, it's certified management accountants, right? So it is the FP&A part of the accounting and finance, which is the financial planning and analysis part, which is where the emphasis is in terms of this certification. Now, if I talk about how exactly does it really differentiate itself, so if we look at today's finance arena, with the complexities of business growing manifold, and happily so, because businesses are going global. Not only that, India has become the GCC capital of India. I mean, world having 1800 plus GCCs, but it's also proud to say a lot of Indian companies have gone global over the decades. And so, I mean, not only the big names, but I'm only talking about moderately big or not so big names are also going global. So with those complexities in place, what is happening is that, and a lot of AI integration in the process. So when it comes about the decision making, there needs to be somebody in the finance team who needs to see the data, interpret the data, and tell a story about the data in simple terms. This is what exactly a management accountant does. Okay? It's not accounting per se accounting, neither it is the taxation or the rules. It's about the storytelling, what the numbers says beyond. So it's picturing it. So that's one part of it. Now, how it is going to be very relevant, or why it is so relevant, or why it is so much in demand today is that, so the CFOs would need some blue-eyed member in the team who's going to help in giving certain perspectives about how the organization, which way they will charter their plans in the coming days. So something about strategic planning, something about what is the way forward. This kind of analytics is what the CMAs are really doing. Okay, and this becomes a very, very powerful weapon, because with data analytics in place, with a big data, with a lot of AI integration, this is exactly the need of the hour. So if you look at, this is a very sweetly timed certification, as I said, globally accepted and absolutely time appropriate. With what the changes that has been happening around the world, I think it automatically has created a green field for itself, a blue ocean for itself, which doesn't compete with any other accounting and finance professionals or certifications. Rather, it complements it, and it kind of enhances the credibility of the professional himself. So it's always the way I look at it, it's a complementary qualification rather than a competing qualification. So that's one part of it. The second part is again why US CMA is again, the point is that as this generation, okay, has really made sure that we as Indians have forgotten what is boundary. So the world is a global stage for us to play around. What could be a better qualification globally than when you talk about anything as a something which is a senior education or higher education? We all know globally the Ivy Leagues are most coveted. So this is the way in which the US CMA certification ensures that your qualification is accepted globally. So you can think about migrating to any part of the world if you're really looking for a really challenging, good growth. That's number one. Number two, even if I talk about a data-driven point. So let's say IMA Global has done a kind of an analysis across the globe on what is the feasible difference, what is the tangible difference that a US CMA candidate brings onto the table, is that peer-to-peer, if we qualify or if we kind of identify, a US CMA qualified certified professional will have on an average 67% higher salary than a non-certified peer across the globe. So it is straight away telling you it is tremendous value for money. The third part is again, as I said, it's a sweetly timed and time appropriate qualification. So is also the tenuity, because many of the things what happens is that you are upgrading your skills, but then what is also important, what is your timeline that you are looking forward to. So this is a certification which anybody can look at, completing within anything between 12 months to a maximum of 18 months. That's a max. Ideally, people complete it between 12 to 15 months. So if you were a, say, student doing a graduation, post-graduation, or even if you were a working professional into your first initial years of 1 to 5 years of your profession, taking out a month from your calendar, and that also is definitely difficult. So what happens is that the tenuity of the course is so well designed that you can still manage things and get this certification done. So there are quite a bit of good things that really falls in place to make it the unique way that it is talking about altogether.
And I think you nailed it. You really nailed it from the perspective of how the finance landscape really looks like, and how does this really fit into the overall finance offering that you have. And I can tell you testimony to that fact is that I have headed the FP&A for various organizations, and I can tell you this role, this kind of a qualification never dies.
Absolutely.
Because you would not be able to take off analysis out of finance anytime possible. Despite AI, despite business intelligence tools and all of that, you still need somebody who can really roll up their sleeves and really get onto the numbers and say, you know what, this number actually means this.
This, exactly.
And considering that this is this, we should be doing this.
Absolutely.
And that's where, CFOs, CEOs are dependent on people
Who are in
can very
lakhs.
well understand numbers and don't go beyond the numbers.
Absolutely.
Do that analytical review. I'm saying that for the lack of a better word. And of course, come back with their conclusion that this is what it is going to be.
Absolutely.
So I think you nailed it very rightly. And guys, do not forget, this qualification just take 12 to 15 months of time for you to get qualified. Which other qualification you think would take this much more time? Zero. That's where, the kind of value that this qualification really brings onto the table from the input and an output perspective is very enriching, because you would be devoting like your 12 to 15 months of time, and the output that you would have after that is certainly going to be a game changer for you. And that's where, this is the perfect segue of getting on to the next question to you, Vineet, which is, we understand, that this is what US CMA is, and this is what it is gonna be. If you really want to throw some light on the subjects that are being covered in US CMA, that what students really need to study, just give
Okay.
me a perspective, not like detailing it, but
Right. I'll give you a brief summary. See, apparently, what I would like to share, the dynamics is changing very fast. And another thing is like, post-pandemic things where what we saw that human want quick, fast, easy. We played an important, we've been in India for 6 years now, and we growed over very fast. And this was very quick, like we talked about 12 to 15 months doing qualification, and it's covered 2 papers, part 1 and part 2. And it happens like 3 times a January, February, May, June, September, October. That's the windows. And you study the world of risk management, financial planning analysis. You study the world of like data analytics, and we kept AI, and you study 2024 qualification framework, which is like we upgrade our syllabus every frequently. I just came to know from Arindam recently, we're going to upgrade our syllabus once again. So this is like we're changing our syllabus on the go year on year. This is what we are talking about right now.
which effectively, if you would have heard rightfully, what we just mentioned, we are effectively talking about areas that are very much important for you for keeping you relevant in the market. Who doesn't want to get a perspective about planning? Who doesn't want to get a perspective from you about how the costing really happens? Who doesn't really want to have a perspective from you as far as the analytics is concerned, the AI is concerned? Everybody wants that. Every organization is looking at it. And that's where, I think, Vineet, you really pointed out very nicely that, one, of course, the curriculum has been created or curated in a way which really makes you relevant from the industry perspective, but it is being adapted and changed or amended on an ongoing basis to ensure that you're always relevant in the market, which is something really catches an eye, right, of an industry. Because if I'm a CFO and let's say you come for an interview and you have a qualification something like this, then I know that what kind of things you are aware of. I know that this is what you already are an expert on. So your tendency of getting selected really enhances, right? So that's where qualification really like this can make a difference. But this actually brings us to a very different question now, Arindam. That what is that a student can expect as an output? So where I'm heading to is that what is the scope? We understood it's an analysis function, planning function, which is going to be a versatile one, because then you're not dependent on one industry.
Exactly.
Every industry really needs it, whether it is FMCG, whether it is IT, ITS, consulting, every industry needs it, which is given. Got that. But what is the scope that you're foreseeing for US CMA? Anything that you would like to mention there?
So again, thanks it's a very good continuation of the question here that you are putting across. So the way I would like to talk about is that, see, it's not only going to be the way, and it is continuation to what exactly Vineet just mentioned. We are extremely, despite being a century-old certification body, many of the times, and this is one of the beauties of being a US certification body, is that they're extremely nimble-footed and extremely time relevant. So they keep on customizing, and epitomizing what is going to be happening in the next 2 years hence. Because what I am preparing today is by the time I pass out and I go for a job will be 15 to 18 months, so 1.5 years. So that is being futuristic in nature. So having that futuristic automatically ensures that you are at a higher pedestal by 50%. So any student who's going into this kind of a certification, US CMA certification, could be well accentuated that they have taken up the right certification as a decision, because they are going to be future proof in the coming 2 years. That's one part to it. The second part is that the way US CMA in India has grown over the last 6 years has been phenomenal in terms of growth. Not because of that, the acceptance from the student community, but the acceptance from the industry community per se. So automatically, as I said, because it's a global certification, US origination certification, and most of the GCCs have their roots in US. So you talk about any of the big names, any of the phone names. I'm definitely intentionally not mentioning the names, but any industry, and it is also industry agnostic, not only function agnostic. So one is industry, second function. So they are kind of inducting fresh US CMA certified students. So that's one very big uptick for the student fraternity who's taking the course. The second part is that because this kind of analytical prowess is required definitely in finance, but not necessarily only in finance. So what I'm hinting upon is that you have a cross-functional expertise also, which this certification brings onto the table as a student. So interesting fact, we have very many engineers also, okay, science graduates also, who have taken up CMA and successfully doing it as a part of, you talked about cost management, as a production part, because this has a lot to do with numbers, but those numbers are not necessarily always finance number. So the better part is that one, it is not only industry agnostic, but it is also function agnostic. So you can always think about doing that. So that's very, very powerful to see. The third part is that what we have seen over the last 3-4 years, typically, lot of universities of great repute are integrating US CMA as a program along with it. Okay. Now, I am definitely not, be wrong if I project in the next half a decade to a decade, I see a definite possibility of Indian education system in terms of the graduation level and the post-graduation level could be well, we could look at integrating the both in such a way that it can automatically make sure that you are getting your educational and professional certification together. The process has already started. Quite a few of the very, very reputed universities, MBA colleges have already done it, integrated program I'm talking about. So days to come is going to be even better and better. Yeah. So I think, definitely, जो automatically the market acceptance है, that will automatically grow. I think that's as simple or as easy as it is.
I think you got a very, very relevant point, guys, that आपके पास अगर ऐसी क्वालिफिकेशन है जो इंडस्ट्री को समझ में आती है, इंडस्ट्री को चाहिए, एंड वो फ्यूचरिस्टिक पर्सपेक्टिव से रिलेवेंट रहने वाली है, तो who's gonna be stopping you to get into any of the corporates in the world? बिकॉज सबको चाहिए तो यही, राइट? और क्या चाहिए? चाहिए तो यही कि मुझे वो जन मिले जो जन बेसिक जानता हो, इन टर्म्स ऑफ स्किल्स उसके पास फ्यूचरिस्टिक स्किल्स हों, और इन टर्म्स ऑफ क्रेडिबिलिटी उसने एक एग्जाम ऐसा पास किया हो जिसने उसको इतना अच्छा लग रहा है that they have proven, in terms of, what the results are. And, these qualifications are professional qualifications. When you add up to your CV, it really brings a very different value to you. If you're just a BCom or you're just a BCom plus CMA, the industry would reckon that fact कि boss इसने मेहनत करी हुई है, इसने वो effort डाला है, as compared to just a plain vanilla BCom. And that's where a qualification like this, if you can start, let's say, as early as possible, and we'll come on to that, Vineet, on to you, that when is the earliest time when somebody can start US CMA? In case, students are watching and, considering we have different variety of students available. So when is the earliest time for anyone to start US CMA if they want to pursue that?
So to pursue US CMA, you can start from after your class 12th. But And the best part is like you can do while you're studying a graduation, and to add more details, to become US CMA, to write your name along with US CMA, you need to be a graduate. You need to have 2 years relevant experience. That's another threshold which is required. But you can certainly pursue after your class 12th.
Oh, that's beauty, right? Because आप 12वीं कक्षा में पास करते हो, आप कॉलेज की जद्दोजहद में जुड़ते हो, आप चाहते हो कि फटाफट से मेरे को कहीं ग्रेजुएशन के लिए एडमिशन मिल जाए और आप उसके साथ में यूएससी में शुरू कर लेते हो। तो अगर मैं ठीक समझाऊं तो मैं यूएससी में अपनी ग्रेजुएशन के साथ ही खत्म कर लूंगा, बिकॉज 12 से 15 महीने तो लगने वाले हैं, मैं खत्म कर लूंगा। तो खत्म करते ही मैं ग्रेजुएट हो गया, तो ऑफकोर्स एक थ्रेशोल्ड तो मेरा मिल गया मुझे। अब मुझे एक्सपीरियंस लेना है बॉस, तो ऑफकोर्स क्योंकि मैं यूएससी में मेरे पास ऑलरेडी आ गई है, तो मेरे को नौकरी मिलनी आसान हो जाएगी, बिकॉज ग्रेजुएशन के बेस पे तो मुझे मिलनी नहीं थी। तो मेरे पास ग्रेजुएशन प्लस यूएससी में आई, मुझे नौकरी मिली, और 2 साल काम करने के बाद
You can use your
मैं अपने नाम के साथ सीएमए भी लगा सकता हूँ।
absolutely,
Is that
absolutely, absolutely.
So guys, what are you waiting for, right? If you want to have something like this with your name, and this is the time to really take off. That actually brings me up to my last question, and
Sure, sir.
or probably input that I would want from you. What is that, Arindam sir, that you would want to suggest to our students who are thinking about their next step and right next step, if I may say that, after their graduation, after their 12th, if they have to start US CMA or they are thinking about US CMA, what is that one thing that you would suggest to them, that why should they think about CMA and just start their journey right away?
Okay. The way, I would like to answer that, Pankaj sir, is that, see, everybody has a career aspiration which is quite unique in its own way. So, no two person ideally should have the right one. But many of the times what happens at that tender age, because we are talking about people जो 12वीं कक्षा पास किया हुआ है या तो ग्रेजुएशन में just गए हुए हैं, not everybody has a very clear mindset that what exactly would be helpful. So many of the times we say that, no, what is important is not the destination but the journey. Because once you start your journey, you will anyway get a lot of new paths. Now, the way I would like to address it is that if you are, let's say, an undergrad student and you are anyway decided to pursue commerce and you have a 3-year long journey ahead before you qualify for it, this is an amalgamation of lot of those knowledges which you are anyway going to acquire or acquiring as you are going forward along with your graduation studies. However, how it is better is that it gives you a global perspective, expands your horizon, make sure you are time relevant, adds lot of power skills which is job oriented, market demand related, and will land up you giving the most needed edge over the next candidate. Now, if these are the things which you are definitely about getting with a globally accepted certification at a tenure which is only a year and a half max at the end, I think nothing could be better the way to look at it. That's the only way. But then I definitely understand that you start your journey and you will discover the beauty of it as you go along.
Beautifully said. I think guys, one एक निष्कर्ष जो मैं इस चीज से दूंगा, जो हमारे लिए बहुत रेलेवेंट हो सकता है, कि अगर भाई हमें बहुत ज़्यादा टाइम नहीं पढ़ाई करनी है, जो मुझे नहीं करनी है अब, अगर हमें बहुत ज़्यादा टाइम पढ़ाई नहीं करनी है और एक ग्लोबली एक्सेप्टेड क्वालिफिकेशन लेनी है, और जो कि मैं ग्रेजुएशन के साथ ही ले लूँ, या मैं अपने वर्किंग प्रोफेशनल्स भाई लोगों से बोलूँ कि भाई ऐसा कुछ कारण है जिस वजह से आपको लगता है कि आपको ग्रोथ नहीं मिल रही है, बिकॉज आपका कंपटीशन अपनी कंपनी में कुछ ऐसे जनों के साथ है जो ऑलरेडी प्रोफेशनली क्वालिफाइड हैं, और आपको लगता है मैं कम से कम टाइम में कैसे एक प्रोफेशनल क्वालिफिकेशन गेन कर सकता हूँ, एंड बॉस, लेट्स नॉट मिस दिस क्वालिफिकेशन which is US CMA, because this can certainly take you to the places, and the places which are global ones, which can really bring you very different value for you. And do not forget that world is gonna be a global village any which ways. So जितना जल्दी हम एक global qualification ले लेते हैं, उतना जल्दी हम इन सब कंपनीज के अंदर जा सकते हैं और किसी भी तरह की ऑर्गेनाइजेशन के साथ जुड़ सकते हैं, विच इज समथिंग यू नो ऑल ऑफ अस वुड रियली वांट. शायद मैं भी यही चाहता, बट हमारे टाइम पे ना हमें इतनी अवेयरनेस ही नहीं थी. बट ऑफ कोर्स यू नो वी हैव द जेंटलमैन सिटिंग आउट हियर who are really guiding you, boss, that for you to take the right next step, you really have to think it right now. Any last words, Vineet, that you would want to have for the students before we really, you know?
I will just tell students, so whenever you jump into the qualification, ensure that you complete the journey.
Oh, yes. Good one. Good
And
one.
second most important thing, 12 to 15 months अगर you're taking a लग रहा आपको एग्जाम्स क्लियर करना, 2 एग्जाम है तो एक बेंचमार्क लो, जंप टू द क्वालिफिकेशन, कंप्लीट द जर्नी. 2 एग्जाम अगर दे दोगे और एग्जाम दोगे, यू विल गेट अ प्रोफेशनल क्वालिफाइड. सो दैट्स व्हाट आई वांट टू टेल स्टूडेंट्स.
And this is really important, guys. Do not forget that. कि क्वालिफिकेशन के अंदर ना आना जरूरी नहीं है भाई. ये अभिमन्यु का चक्कर भी थोड़ी है कि अंदर आ जाओगे बाहर नहीं जाओगे. दिस इज समथिंग वेयर यू हैव टू इंश्योर कि आप अंदर आओ और बाहर भी निकलो, बिकॉज यहाँ हम ना वो क्लोज नहीं करेंगे वो चक्रव्यूह को, हम ओपन रखेंगे. आपने सिर्फ एक चीज करनी है, आपने मेहनत करनी है, बाकी जय माता दी. That is something that you really have to really look forward to, because boss क्वालिफिकेशन का रिजल्ट अगर मुझे लेना है या मुझे आउटपुट जो चाहिए वो तो तभी मिलने वाला है जब क्वालिफाई हो जाएगी. रजिस्टर करने से थोड़ी भी बेनिफिट मिलना है. तो पढ़ाई करनी है, एग्जाम देने हैं और केवल 2 देने हैं, 12 से 15 महीने में देने हैं. कंटेंट वो है जो ग्रेजुएशन में मोर और लेस कवर्ड होने वाला है. तो बहुत वेट किस चीज की है. तो फटाफट से FinTram के पास आ जाओ, बिकॉज वी आर प्राउडली एसोसिएटेड विद द IMA in terms of, you know, offering this to you and of course giving you all the benefits that are possible, because there are some benefits which are exclusively for you. You know, we have it for you. Reach out to us and of course, you know, team will be there to really help you to take your right next step right away. With that, Arindam sir, thank you very much for joining us. And
Thank you,
thanks,
Pankaj sir.
Thank you.
It's been a
Vineet,
pleasure.
for really joining us. I think you know, students really need those kind
Oh,
of discussions for them to take the right decisions. So you're really taking out time, and guys, I really want you to put a thanks on the video also to him because they really take out time when we requested them कि boss हमारे student के लिए ना एक webinar तो करना है, because they should hear it from you in terms of, you know, how this qualification is really unfolding, and of course would help them in their, you know, in their journey. So thank you very much, sir.
Absolutely,
And-
it's been a thorough pleasure, and definitely we are here to serve the student community. It's our moral responsibility and duty to give them the views which are correct, authentic, and updated. And thank you for giving us this opportunity to discuss and present it to the future CMAs, US CMAs of India.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.